What is up YouTube? Welcome back to another Moralis tutorial video. In this video, we're going to check out how you can run your custom cloud functions on your self-hosted Parse server so they don't have to be run locally on your client side. This is very useful, for example, for your EVM API calls or any secret logic you would like to run on your own server that doesn't have to run on the client side. Here, for example, I'm asking our Parse server whether I should buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, and my cloud function is randomizing between the two coins and getting the price of the token using the Moralis EVM API get token price endpoint. So if I go over here and press the let the cloud decide button, it gives me the price of Ethereum, which is currently sitting at $1,258. But if I go ahead and press it again, it gives me the price of Bitcoin. It's randomizing. So it could have given me Ethereum again. We press that again, it gives me Ethereum. And now it gave us Ethereum again. Just to show you this is actually working, I'm actually logging these to the console as well. So if we inspect, we should have Ethereum twice over here. Yep, we got Ethereum twice over here. And then this one should have been Bitcoin. And as we go on, it'll randomize based on what the cloud function calculates. And you can write any logic over there. The sky's the limit. All right. If you're interested in this, stay stuck in and I'll show you how to create your own custom cloud functions on your self-hosted Parse server.
Hey, I'm Jay, your Moralis instructor from beautiful Finland. I got into crypto in 2020 and I've been building in the space ever since. In my free time, I enjoy running and at the gym, and in the summer, you'll definitely find me at the golf course. Now, let's get stuck in and learn about Web3.
Rightio, getting started here in VS Code, we have this folder called Parse Server Migration, which has all the required files to host your own self-hosted server with Moralis integrated. We have a full tutorial on the YouTube channel on how to set this up, so that will be linked in the top right of this video. So go check that out first before continuing with this video, because that is a prerequisite to being able to write your own cloud functions on the self-hosted server. In that tutorial, we go over how to set your environment variables, set up your MongoDB, Redis connection, etc., etc. So very useful information there. But after you've done that, now we can go ahead and check out how we can add cloud functions into this self-hosted server. So what you want to do is go check out the source folder over here, then press the cloud folder, and then main.ts. And this is where you can go ahead and write your own cloud functions that are run only on your self-hosted server, so you don't have to run logic on your client side. So now let's go ahead and define our new cloud function called parse.capitalcloud.define. Then we'll give our cloud function a name, whatever we want to call it from our client side. Let's say, for example, secret cloud code, then add a comma, and it's going to be an asynchronous function as we're going to use the Moralis EVM API. So we have to wait for a response from there. And then in here, you'd put your parameters if your cloud function took any parameters, but ours does not. And then a simple arrow function to define our logic within. Right now, so in the simplest form, this cloud function could just return something back to the client once it's requested from the client side. So we could, for example, in our case, we want to return a token and its price in form of an object. So we could say token equals BTC, and then the price, don't know the current price of Bitcoin, but it's probably around $20,000. At least that is what we hope it would get to as soon as possible. And so now this would work, but we want to actually handle some logic before we return, so we can actually use the EVM API to get the actual price for a token like Bitcoin or Ethereum. But we also want to run some cloud logic over here to define which token price we're going to get, the Bitcoin or Ethereum price. So let's go ahead and write a function that randomizes between two numbers, 0 and 1, and then it will pick based on the number that was randomized which token it will get the price for and send back to the client. All right, so over here, we'll write a little function called getRandomInteger. So we'll either get 0 or 1 as a response from our getRandomInteger function. And then we'll go ahead and create an array of two tokens. One is Ethereum with the contract address for wrapped Ethereum, so we can get the token price for wrapped Ethereum, and one with Bitcoin and the contract address for wrapped Bitcoin, so we can get the token price for wrapped Bitcoin. So simply creating this array is simple. We just call it tokens, and we add two objects within it, one with a token, which is Ethereum for the first case, and then the second one is Bitcoin. And now what we can do is go ahead and get a suggestion. So what we say is let suggestion equal one of our tokens, and we'll use our get random integer function over here. So we either get the first element in our tokens array or our second element. So it randomizes over here in our cloud function what it responds to the client. Now, after we have the suggestion, we can go ahead and run the Moralis EVM API. But to do that, we'll actually have to import Moralis into this main.ts file. So over here on the top, go ahead and import Moralis. Import Moralis from Moralis, and that's great. Then scrolling down, what we'll do is go ahead and use the get token price endpoint to get a response from the Moralis EVM API, like so. So we're awaiting Moralis EVM API, the token method with the get token price endpoint, and as the address, we're passing whatever our suggestion is. So token contract for wrapped Ethereum or the contract address for wrapped Bitcoin. And that will give us the price in USD for that token. So we can store it in a variable, for example, price USD. And now, rather than just returning to our client a standard Bitcoin and 20,000, we can actually send what our cloud function over here calculated. So our Bitcoin will be changed to suggestion.token, and the price will be the price USD variable itself. And now we have our cloud function ready to rock. All right, there seemed to be a little error, but that was just because we didn't install the dependencies, but we go through that in the previous tutorials. So just make sure you have all the dependencies installed using npm or yarn so you get Moralis in your self-hosted server. But now what I'll have you do is open up your terminal and go ahead and build the self-hosted server by running yarn build. This creates the build folder for you, and then you can go ahead and launch the self-hosted server locally on your device by running yarn dev. And it should start running on port 1337. So now we should have access on localhost port 1337 to our own defined cloud function secret cloud code. So now, creating a client that is connected to our self-hosted server, we should be able to call the secret cloud code. So let's do that now. Let's first do this with a very simple vanilla JavaScript sample app and an index.html file. All right, so here I have another window of VS Code running, and in this folder, I have a React folder and a vanilla folder. So in the vanilla folder, we only have a index.html, and that is all you need. It's a very simple static web page with a head tag where we've included Parse over here. And in the body, we only have a button that says cloud function. And then we have this pre-tag where we'll actually present the token and the price once we run our cloud function. And then we have a script where we initialize Parse with our app ID. So if we go check out our .env file in the self-hosted server, so over here where we wrote our cloud-defined secret cloud code, we can go check out the .env file and we set our application ID to be 001. Of course, you would like to set your application ID to be much safer, and then the server URL. So this is where the server is running. So those are the information we have to provide over here to initialize Parse in a very simple vanilla example. So we initialize Parse by calling the app ID and then the server URL, which is localhost 1337/server. And then we have this one function over here called cloud, which is triggered on click of the cloud function button over here. And what it does, it uses parse cloud run and calls our secret cloud code function. And then all we do is we console log the response, and we also set the inner HTML of our pre-tag over here to the stringified format of the response. So if we check this out, open up our terminal over here, go ahead and launch our vanilla app over here. So now on port 8000, this simple index.html should be running. So open up your browser of your choosing. I'll use Google Chrome. And here we have the simple index.html file. You see we only have that cloud function button. If we zoom in a little bit and open up our console over here, now when we press this button, this should send a request to our self-hosted Parse server to go ahead and fetch a token, whether it's BTC or Ethereum, and get the token price and present it for us. And this is all run on our server side, and nothing has to be done here on our client side. So we press this and look at this. We get Bitcoin as a suggestion, and the price is $16,727 We can go ahead and hit it again. And now we get Ethereum as it randomizes between the two tokens we have set in our cloud function. And as we press this a couple of times, we should, like you see here, we get Ethereum twice because it is randomizing it. We don't just get Bitcoin and Ethereum every other go. All right, now we've done this on a simple vanilla app, but now let's try do this with React. So we can jump back into Visual Studio Code and we can stop this server from running over here. And like I said, we have this React folder over here. These folders will be available for you in the link in the description, so you can check these repos out in your own time as well. So in React over here, we have a simple React app. Let's check the source folder and index.js. We're using from React Moralis, the Moralis provider, and in the Moralis provider, we're using the app ID and the server URL as we did in the vanilla example as well. So these are features from Moralis v1, so they should still be working as Moralis v1 used a Parse server. So if we check out the dependencies over here in the package.json file, you see we use React Moralis and Moralis v1. So go ahead and open up the terminal and cd into the React folder. So cd one folder back, and then go ahead and cd into React over here, and go ahead and install all the dependencies by running npm I. And this should install React Moralis and Moralis v1 for you. And while those are installing, we can go see how we actually handle calling the cloud function in a React app by opening up app.js over here. And in here, we see we're using from React Moralis, use Moralis cloud function. So using this hook, we have the fetch parameter over here, which fetches our secret cloud code. So we have this run cloud code function over here, where we await React Moralis to go fetch from our self-hosted Parse server the secret cloud code. And then we here as well console log it, and we set this state variable called suggestions as the response. And then in our app, we've made this a bit nicer here in React. As long as we have a suggestion, we get the token and we set that as a heading. And as a heading below that, we set the current price, which will be the suggestions price. And we as well filter it to the 2 most significant decimal points. So it just looks a bit nicer. So this should have you going. This is how you can use Moralis v1 cloud function capabilities with your current self-hosted server. So we should have the dependencies installed like so. So we can go ahead and run npm run start to see how this works in practice. It opens up localhost 3000 for us. And this should have our React app in it like so. What should I buy? Let's just zoom out a little bit. And then we have this button, let the cloud decide. We can open up our console as well to see that the results are coming in. So we press this and it gives us the current price of Ethereum, which is $1,257. And you see it's logged over here in our console as well. And we can press this a couple of times. See, it gave us Ethereum, but now after a couple of times, our cloud code randomizes between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we get a different suggestion every time we press it based on what the cloud code runs on your self-hosted server, and none of this has to run on your client side. So I hope this was a quick, nice introduction of how to use cloud functions on your self-hosted server for your Moralis API calls. I really hope you put this to good use, and I'll catch you in the next one.